Hello and welcome, everybody. My name is Garland Colson. I'm the Marketing Director of PresentationPoint, and we are the hosts of this particular webinar series. Today with me, I have Kurt Dupont, our founder, who can certainly help answer any technical questions you have about any of our software. And today we have a guest instructor, and I'm always pleased to have Chantal teach for us. Chantal has taught for us many times, and her information is always fantastic. I learn a lot, so I'm looking forward to what I'm going to learn here. So Chantal Bossé is the founder of CHABOS. Is that the name of it, Chantal?
Yes, yes.
She's a TEDx speaker coach, an MVP for Microsoft Office apps, trainer on LinkedIn, and she works with speakers and businesses and helps them improve their PowerPoint presentation skills, which of course we can all use some work on. So at this point, I'm going to turn this over to Chantal. For everybody who's going to be asking, you can ask questions down in the chat area, and we'll let Chantal know when there's questions, and hopefully she'll be able to answer them for you. And also, we are recording this session, so if you have to leave early, you will be able to get access to it later. So take it away, Chantal.
Well, thank you very much, Garland, and thank you, Kurt, because I do appreciate the opportunity to do these little webinars with you. It's always a pleasure, and my passion is really sharing what we can do, the odd things we can do with PowerPoint. And that's probably why I like PresentationPoint, because they are doing something different with regular PowerPoint. So today, what I plan on doing is showing you two things, really basic, two fun things to do. PowerPoint to video and PowerPoint to GIF. And you know what? I'll be saying GIF. So whoever wants to hear GIF, I'm sorry, I'm not the peanut butter GIF person, so I'll say GIF. And these two things, I have the feeling is really, it can be really helpful for business people to create small video clips, whether it's for their social media accounts or even for some of the signage that they want to use either in stores, in lobbies of, well, hotels, even though we know presently we don't see them that much. But I think creating videos will be something that also helps have more power because you can edit them yourself. And second is that you have a more seamless way to put it together. And sometimes when you package it, it might also be a little bit less size-wise, which would be better depending on where you want to push it. So the first thing I'll be doing, I'll share my screen. And I'll start with a video demo. And that demo is basically a video I produced for an organization 4 years ago now. And it's only 1 minute. I'll let it move forward and you'll have some sound because an audio sound was included through it. And then we'll be able to go and see what the PowerPoint file looks. And I also plan to show you another PowerPoint file to share to video, and it will be helpful on all the steps you have to do. So let's start this.
I don't think the sound is coming through on this, Chantal.
The sound did not come through?
On the video itself, yes.
Oh, and you know what? It's probably my fault because I have my earbuds on. Hold on. I can just do this again. I'm wondering, because I'm not using, share sound. That's my bad. Let's do this again. I'll start it over. Just please let me know if the sound is coming through so they have a better idea, and maybe I'll just stop it before the end.
That's coming through.
So the sound was on this time?
Yes, it was.
It was my bad. I forgot that little checkbox. I'm sorry. So as you can see, pretty seamless video file, pretty, not that huge of a file, MP4. And it does all start with this PowerPoint file. So I have in there 10 slides, and in there, you just have to plan accordingly to make sure that you have if you want audio, this audio file, and I'll just try to hide that little bar. Hold on. Here we go. So if you do have audio, you need to make sure that in your playback, you hide it, and you also play it across all slides to make sure that you'll have audio throughout your video file. And then it's a matter of playing with animations and transitions. In some cases, I did leverage a lot of the just basic animations. As you can see, if we reduce the size, this is just a huge image, and it had, and when we go into animations, animation pane, you have a path. So that creates that movement behind the second slide that when it was playing. And afterwards, for people that are using, PowerPoint 365, part of the subscription in Microsoft 365, you have the morph transition, which I have used in a few instances just to make my life easier in terms of some of the animations that we have in there. It's not as intricate. As you can see, animation pane right here is not that heavy because you don't have any huge, you don't have a very huge list of animations in there. Sometimes if you want to create everything instead of just leveraging the morph, then you might have a whole lot more in your list. So going through this, you see it's really basic PowerPoint, and then when you're done, you've tested it, and the best way to test it is just go into your slideshow mode and go through it. And you can time your transitions if you want to. For example, transitions, right now you see it's after 4 seconds. Most of the time, I did time them just to make sure I would also be able, because I'm a little bit pinpointy, if I would say that sometimes some of the animations I want to come up on a certain beat of the music, but this is not a huge, it's not a software that you usually do video with. So you have to trick it, and sometimes you have to tweak it by ear, which means that, okay, by using the transitions, the automatic transitions, then I would be able to have a better grasp on what was going on my slides and make sure I could sometimes just tweak the timing to make sure that it would be on a certain beat. For this file, it did take me quite a long time just to tweak it the way the client wanted it and the way I was satisfied with. So it's 10 slides, 1 minute of production as an MP4, but it took maybe 3-4 hours to do if we think about the concept and timing and animations and stuff like that. So it can be time consuming, but then you still have your PowerPoint file you can work with. The client wanted to change a few words. That was pretty easy to do. Didn't have to go through a very expensive software. I had it. And for them, it was also pretty awesome to be able to make some changes afterwards. So after your file is done and you go to File, Export, then you will create a video. Create video, you have a few settings that will help you. This one is full HD. You have the 4K, and depending on your version, you might not have the 4K. That's a possibility. But export to video has been in PowerPoint for, geez, many years now. If I'm not mistaken, I think I remember it in the version 2010. So, and I didn't check that out, but I think it goes back that long. Depending where you want to publish or show your MP4, then you can choose the resolution. It's nothing really fancy. People that are already familiar with video production software, you don't have many tweaks you can do here. It's just basic resolutions. If you're going to put it on the web, you can go with standard and HD. If you really need to put it on signage, then I really would recommend full HD or the 4K if you do have a 4K display. And also if you do have the feature when you're in the export area. Here, this is the important part. If you have timings, narrations, and stuff you have planned in your PowerPoint file, you need to tell the system to use all the timings and narrations that you have already. If I click that link or that list, then you have the choice. Don't use recorded timings and narrations or use them. Or you could preview the whole thing and do the recording of timings and narrations. That can be helpful if you decide that you want, for example, you're creating a training package and it's going to be much easier to just have it as an MP4 because it will travel easily through various web browsers or various technologies that people will be using, which means that you could still do your training, do your record timings and narrations, and then export as a video, and everything will be timed. So I'll keep it with the use recorded timings and narrations. If you are not using them, then you can choose how many seconds you want to spend on each slides. Right now, it's really not an issue. You could really move that down and up whatever way, and then you just create video. It will ask you where you want to create it. By default, with the newer versions, you have the MPEG-4, so the MP4 output, and you click Save. I won't do it right now because it does take up machine resources, but you will have a bar at the bottom of your PowerPoint letting you know it's being converted to MP4. And maybe a side note, if you ever get a message that when you convert to MP4, you choose your folder, your output folder, and it's a network folder or it's a SharePoint or cloud drive that you have available when you save your files, you might get a message that the folder is not available. Do you want to save elsewhere? And that might happen. Sometimes it's not every time, but it does happen at times. And if that's the case for you, just click, yeah, you want to save to another drive. It will open the Save As window. Just keep the same folder, click OK, and it will be there. It seems to be a bug, and we're not sure because we have pushed that forward to Microsoft. Some people get it, some don't. Some have been able to say, well, I'll just share it. I push the export locally, then transfer the file to my network drive or my cloud storage. they're kind of working on it. So that's the only thing I can tell you right now, but it's not a huge problem. You just have to bypass it. What I'll do now is I'll quickly show you another file that I created, and I'll just make it available to for download. So I'll send it to Garland and Kurt, and they will be able to make it available to you. I want to show that you can do something with a video file. Let's just do this. If you click here, you see that we have a video file. In here is just static pictures. In here, you have some 3D models. And on the last one, and it takes a little bit, this is a 3D model with animation. So if I just go into my slideshow, and let's not use the presenter view, and let's present on my primary monitor, I'll show you what it looks like quickly. So right now, this is basic animation. You're on the second slide, that video plays. I have a specific animation with the pictures. Now we have the 3D models that are animated too, and we have those little fish that are 3D models that are animated. So that's the file, and I wanted to show you again the exports that you can get out of them. So let's go here. The demo to PowerPoint video, this is what I showed you, and I want to show you the resolutions. If you use the standard, look at the file. It's a 24 meg file, and then HD 47 and full HD 83. So that's why you have to be conscious where you want to send this, because if you're not aware of the sizes, you might get a problem just reading them, because it does take up resources. And depending on where people are reading your MP4, or if you're just pushing it to a display, that's not such a big problem. But if you're using the file that people will read on their own computers from with a web connection that you don't have any control over, then it might be a problem. So PowerPoint to video, that's the quick demo I want to give you. Any specific questions or asks from participants, Garland?
Not that I'm seeing right now. I think one of the comments you made that really resonated with me is that if you do video production with PowerPoint as opposed to standard, other video things, a client can make some minor changes after. And I think that's really powerful.
Yes.
If they want to change a word or a price or something minor that, I know, of course, if you're a video producer, you want them to come back to you and pay you again. But in some cases, for a minor change, it just is much easier if they and their staff can do it themselves.
Absolutely. And I must say that usually what I've realized with my client base is for those little small tweaks, I'd rather empower them and let them do it. And they appreciate it so much that afterwards they just come back for something that takes up more time for them, or they don't have the knowledge to do it. And I find it more gratifying to put my skills to the test on another project than just tweaking some words on a file.
And that's a really good point. And I know years ago, when I was doing web design for clients, I would teach their own staff how to update their WordPress website instead of them always having to come back to me whenever they wanted to just upload a new article, because it was empowering them. So we do have another question.
Yes.
So Julie M asks, is there something special I need to do to add presenter media as an add-in on my PowerPoint?
Presenter media, I think you do. Well, if you are by presenter media, you're thinking about those 3D models. Am I right? Am I interpreting the question right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, for the 3D models, if you have a subscription, a PowerPoint subscription, so you need to have Office 365 or Microsoft 365, then you will go into Insert, and you will have some 3D models. Either Presenter Media, you download some 3D models from there, but you do have some stock 3D models, which are what I use for this presentation. You do have quite a few. If I go, let's go into the animated animals, view all. And the reason you need 365 to do this, it's because you need a web connection. Those models are living on a web server, and then they are imported in your presentation. And they have been good at putting some extra models in there. And this one, which we show with that little icon, is already animated. Instead of just importing it again, I'll show you from here. If I click here, you see the 3D model. In the 3D model, you have the various views that you can change. And you also have a specific setting in animations. And I'll go in animations. Scene, it's because it's animated already, so you don't have to use the specific PowerPoint animations. You can just, and all those animations, you have the specific PowerPoint animations, the 3D animations, which you can add to the model itself, but this one really has something that is built in. And if you go into effects options, you can decide if you're animating once or twice or continuously. And for this, I just did once because all those little fishies, they were moving around and around forever. So I made that change. So Presenter Media, that's a good source, but you don't have to go there if you have an Office 365 license. You do have some stock models in there.
Okay, and Steve had asked, he was late getting here. Will the presentation be available at another time? Yes, Steve, and for everybody else here listening, we are recording this session and we will be putting it up on Presentation Point's YouTube channel in probably a few days. So if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, you get a notification. Gail has asked, can you have video templates, and is that easier when creating videos?
Well, you would need to create a PowerPoint template if you want to create it in PowerPoint. You could set up a PowerPoint template to already have some items, some specific layouts that you want to use, but it's basically just starting with PowerPoint. With this one, I can, if we go into the View tab and we go into the Slide Master, you will see it's just a basic white Microsoft Slide Master. I haven't used anything. Basically, for one reason, when I put this together, I was just dropping images from the library or 3D models, and I let the presentation ideas just give me the layouts, and that was a quick way to do it. And I'll show you something else for the presentation ideas. Is people that don't know about it, when you go into design ideas, this is where, and right now I have too many things in there, and I removed the background of one of the pictures, which is why it's not playing, it's not giving me ideas. Hold on, let's do this. And 3D models there, no, I won't have it. This is solely a picture. So the design ideas, I could choose a layout from here. So instead of trying to create a template, especially when you want to create videos, just put your media in there and then export it and try to play with some of the layouts that you have here, and it might be enough. Because the point is, you want to create a video that will be done in a short period of time. This is a quick way for business owners to do something on their own if they want to. So there's no point in trying to have an intricate template unless you're working in a bigger company and you want to empower your people to produce their videos. But then, depending on what they're producing, the template might not be as necessary because it might be different from one to another.
And one other thing that had occurred to me, and this is going way back, you had talked about doing the export, but then recording your own narrations and timing. And I can see
Yep.
where that's useful, because when I'm presenting, my timing's not always identical every time. Like I tell a story or do something, and so if I do it and record the timing I took, and the triggering the animations, I suppose, by the space bar or the click or something, that could be really useful.
Absolutely, and that's a good point, because if you already have your animations that you control, then you could at least just time everything, do the recording with that timing rehearsal, and make sure that the export looks as good as what you did during your training.
And that's all the questions we had so far. Chantal.
Okay, so what I'll show you now is those little GIFs. So I'll show you this one, which is really a basic little GIF that when we received something from Microsoft, wanted to thank the Microsoft people. And I said, okay, let's just do this. And it took just a couple of minutes and it was done. The way to do it, you go into your PowerPoint, and unfortunately for people that don't have the PowerPoint subscription, they won't be able to do this, because that's a new feature for subscription licenses only. So as you can see, it's only 2 slides. On this slide, this is a small GIF animation on the slide. This one, the only thing I did, I went back to my design ideas. Yeah, because I have that little GIF there. It's not presenting any ideas, but I just used one of the design ideas when I dropped in my picture, tweaked it a little bit, and transition right here. I went with the page curl, and now you go to File, Export, and you can create an animated GIF. And again, you can choose how many frames, because it's really frames per second. That's the language of the GIFs. And don't ask me too many technical details. Myself, I haven't dug into the nitty-gritty part of the GIF technology, but it just works. So I'm not asking myself many questions. I'm just making sure that I'm using the right resolution. And to show you how the difference, I'll show you some of the exports that I did, because the size really matters. Let's just say it overall for GIFs, if for every little movement, it needs to capture all the information. So the more color you have, the more pictures you have. All these things will bloat your file size. So some of the little animations will be huge, and it's because of all the little movement and precision that the GIF technology has to go grasp in the background. Here, only thing you have to do is decide how many seconds you'll spend on the slide, and you decide what slides. If you have only maybe 2 slides in a whole deck, you could make a little GIF out of it and decide, well, I want slide 4 and 5 instead of, this one has only 2 slides, so I'm okay. And you create it and you're done. And again, I want to do the creation part live on the webinar because it takes up resources, and I want to make sure that we'll be having something that will stay on, no troubles with video and lag. So this one, which is only 2 slides, look at the small size, it's still 2 megs. The medium is 8, and the larger one is 11 megs. So depending where you're putting that GIF, it might make a difference. If it's really just a 2-page presentation, it's not that huge, and most places will handle it pretty well. The one I'll be showing you, and that's a file that I'll make available to the participants at Garland. It's only a picture, a spring picture at my house, and I called it Where is Minette? Minette being that little outdoor cat that adopted my patio 12 years ago now. So if we play this, you have the animations, and it's still, again, morphing the picture. And I'm sorry for those subtitles. They are in French. I forgot about that. So this was a little trick that I wanted to just show you, that you can zoom in, do something. You can still export it, but this 4-slide file, which has, if we just reduce the zoom, look at the size of the picture compared to the workspace that you have, and you have more pictures and you're zooming. When you export as a GIF, look at that regular GIF. That 3 meg file, PowerPoint file, becomes a 64, almost 65 meg GIF. So it comes back to what I was saying. When you have more pictures, it does bloat up the size of your GIF file.
Chantal, this is like a fantastic way to easily create GIFs, and GIFs have been proven to be shared much more often than regular pictures online, like the movement. People just love it. So that's amazing. George had a question.
Yes.
How or is it possible to have one video behind all slides? So one video continuously running with, for example, 10 slides, so it shows the slides over the one video.
Unfortunately, not at the moment, because the video, it's different from the audio file. The audio file can be played on multiple slides, but the video sits on one slide. And so far, we don't have any possibilities to make it play. If they decide, let's say in the future, that you would have a specific layout in your slide master, maybe then that would be possible. But right now, not a possibility, unfortunately.
Thanks. Yeah, that was the only question so far on that. So.
Okay, well, you know what? Those were the basic things. I wanted that session to be just fun and quick, trigger new ideas, that whatever you're doing in your business, in your consultancy, or your work, because you work for a corporation, you have ways to get creative, and you have easy and really dirt cheap ways to create small videos and GIFs that you can put online, especially for small business owners. We know we have to be present online, but that means that, okay, do we always have the budget, or do we always have the time to outsource it because, oh, we have that brilliant idea at 9 p.m. one night, I want to put it live the next day? Well, your PowerPoint tool can do it. So that really is my main point. PowerPoint is a great tool for our presentations, but start to see it as a production tool for more than presentations. You try it for your videos, try it for GIFs, and I'm quite sure that you'll get some great results, because it helps people grasp attention, especially on social media.
So Chantal, Lucy W asks, what slide dimensions do you use?
This one, I really went with the lazy way. That's the standard slide size. If you go into your design and slide size, you see it's the widescreen. And that's a very good question, because it just brought to mind that you could go back to the 4:3. Let's just ensure fit. And now, if we look at the first few slides, you see it's 4:3, but you could actually go back, do the custom size, and just adjust the width and the height to the ratio that you want. If you want a square, make it square, and then it might fit the needs that you have for a specific social media platform, or Either that or specific display that you want to use. If you want to have that GIF on a signage somewhere in your business, you could just change the ratio by having a custom size, and then you change it over here.
Chantal, maybe another trick that I can share.
Absolutely.
You can enter the pixel value there where we saw the centimeters and where other people have the inches there. So,
well, you know what? That will be, let's try it live and see if because I've tried it in my French UI. It did not work.
Okay. Try
So,
something like,
give me a few pixels and let's try this and see if I just fall on my face. That will be cool.
try just 1080 or something pixels. So you have 180
and then it's px.
px you have to enter. And I'm not sure if you have, I'm using always without the space, but I'm not sure.
Hold on.
Yeah, but maybe let's try something square.
You know what? Let's start a new one. This one. Then we'll go into design, slide size, custom
That's
slide.
ideal for Facebook and Twitter messages.
Okay, let's try the custom. Okay, 1080 px. And what's the other one?
And the same, and it's translating that same value into a centimeter or inches. So,
okay.
Yeah. So that's what's happening. So it's still translating into inches and centimeters, but it's doing the conversion. Yeah.
You know what? When I tried it, I kept stumbling. Well, it stays in centimeters.
Yeah, true.
So yeah, I'll keep that in mind. I just did not push my inquiry far enough when I tried it. So that's way cool. And as you can see, now it's square. And Kurt is right. If you want to change it, well, just use the pixels that that are asked for, because they usually will mention this is the perfect file size or the number of pixels that you should be using. Great point. Thank you, Kurt. Even I learned one thing new. That's cool.
So we have another question from Amrita. Is there a way to compress the video size without compromising on its quality?
Not really, especially if you're just using your PowerPoint. As soon as you do the export as video, you will have a difference in quality, because as you can see, lowest quality, moderate quality, high quality. As soon as you drop some pixels, you will always have a drop in quality. And it probably won't show on very small screens. And especially for resolutions and stuff like that, don't fear pitching in, Kurt, because you have way more knowledge than me, because you're working with large devices and signage and everything. But usually if you compress too much, you'll be losing in quality for sure.
Maybe I can add that if you have a full HD television and you have the video created in HD, it's perfectly fine normally.
That's right.
No.
So Alexander made a comment. Entering the pixels would be great. So he was that was probably quite worth it for him.
Yeah.
So Joris says, if you need to see only centimeters instead of inches, then it should be changed in the Windows control panel. So maybe that's something you could change if you wanted,
Oh yeah, you can change
designate it, yeah,
metric to the other system in your Windows panel. It's in your original settings that you can have that. But for the pixels, that's really something that it's not really something you can show. It's a trick that through the years people have been curious and they've been able to play with it. And the part I was missing is that it was just translating back to the sizes in centimeters, because my system is in the metric system.
So, but it was working, but yes, you didn't know.
It was working.
Yes.
I just did not go far away. I'm so glad that I also learned something during this session.
And Steve Haney says, I'm sorry, is it too much to ask to go over the GIF setup again? I'm not sure if you have time, Chantal, but we did record.
We have it. Yeah, you know what? I won't save this one. Let's go back to the short one. I think it's going to be better, this one. So we're on this 2-slide one, file, and then we export, create an animated GIF. Usually by default, it's on medium. So it should be okay for most devices that you want to push it to. You just either keep it or change it. And seconds to spend on each slide. If you want something very dynamic, 1 second is usually enough. That's what I use for this little GIF that you saw. So that's why it seemed to be going so quickly. So export GIF. And you choose the slides that you want to use for your GIF. And that's it. And you create.
Thanks. And Alexander asks, is it possible to create squared videos with PowerPoint? So I'm wondering if that square we made, if we had just exported that as a video, that would probably just be a square video, wouldn't it?
You would, and you could still crop. You can crop videos in PowerPoint. Hold on. Let's use this one. This is a small video. When you go into your video format, you can crop it. So if you crop, you decide what you want to keep. You can make it square if you want. And now when you play it, it's square.
And so if your presentation is square to begin with and you export it as a video, it'll be a square video, right?
Yep, that's
Okay.
it.
Thank
That's
you.
it. So that was my little session on fun things to do to make sure you have videos and GIFs.
Well, if anybody has any last minute questions, now's the time to throw them in. Steve says, thanks so much. Chantal, if people want to connect with you, how do they do that?
They can do it on LinkedIn. That's probably my home away from home, virtually speaking. So it's just searching for Chantal Bossé, B-O-S-S-E, and I'll be happy to connect with whoever wants to connect.
Okay, and Maria says, great tips. Gail says, excellent, learned so much, learned some trips. Merci. Paul says, excellent session. So getting lots of great comments. For everybody who did ask, we did record this session, so we will be putting it up on the Presentation Point YouTube channel in a few days. So you just need to go to the YouTube and then search for Presentation Point, and it's really, really easy to find. So.
And I'll make sure to transfer you the 2 files if people want to play with them in terms of seeing the animations, transitions, so they can just reverse engineer them if they want to before trying themselves at videos and GIFs. Great.
I will mention one other video trick Chantal didn't cover. It's probably because this one is to do with our particular software, but our DataPoint enterprise software will allow you to do a mail merge in a video. So let's say if you had 100 people to send a video to and you wanted to customize it, put their name in, information about them, our DataPoint enterprise tool lets you do that. And we put a recent video up on our YouTube video channel that showed how you might use this, say, if you were doing an election, if you wanted to send out to all the people in your area that you polled. So that's that's another example of something that can be done with video and PowerPoint. So any last minute questions? Let's see, why not send the recording by email? Recordings are large, first off, so to send each one, they get quite big, and yeah, there's tools to work around that, but usually it's easier to just put up a video and let people access it there. Yes, we will be sending, Marquita, the link to the video to all the registered participants. So if you registered for this, whether you were able to attend or not, we will be sending out a link to the video to everybody. And Gail says, can you please repeat the enterprise software feature? And maybe we should do a webinar just about this. But essentially, what DataPoint does is DataPoint lets you connect any image, any text box, any table on a slide to real-time data, such as an Excel file, RSS feeds, those kinds of things. With the video portion, we allow you to pull that in and do a merge. So let's say if you were to do a video for everybody in your office, a Merry Christmas video, you could have that video show up with the person's name and something personal about them, maybe what their special gift is and where they can find it hidden somewhere in the office. So you can do these kinds of things. The name of the YouTube channel, H. Ahmed, is PresentationPoint, all one word. So, Kurt put the YouTube link in there as well to the channel. Thanks, Kurt. So it says, will we be showing how to do that? So yeah, any great place to get plugins for PowerPoint? Yes, the great place to get plugins for PowerPoint is PresentationPoint.com. We have several plugins there for you, such as DataPoint, MessagePoint, tons of them for doing a lot of different things with that. We also have a lot of free templates there as well. So. Okay, I think we got through all the questions. And you know how to connect with Chantal. You connect with her on LinkedIn. I think you're all in our email list, so we'll definitely be sending out information. So Gail says, yeah, nice, 3 exclamation marks. So well done. So thanks to everybody for coming, and great to have you on again, Chantal. We always love it when you come, and I learn a lot, and this was fantastic. And it's interesting because I do create videos from PowerPoint quite regularly, but I hadn't really thought of it in some of the ways that you're doing. And I love the fact that it's so easy to change afterwards to do another version.
Oh, absolutely. Just a few tweaks and we're ready to go.
Maria says, going to try it with my students in Puerto Rico. Great.
Oh, that's awesome.
Okay, well, thanks for being here, everybody. And we'll be setting up the recording in the next couple of days. And we look forward to the next webinar. So thanks for coming, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Still getting lots of comments. Thank you. Very interesting. So
Thanks, Chantal, for being with us again. She left already, I guess.
she may have. I think she had another session to get to. So. Yep, just getting all the thanks. That's great. Thanks, Laurie. Thanks, Robert. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Scott. Yeah, we love to, PresentationPoint loves to sponsor these sessions. And it also helps when I bring in great instructors to do this, because then I and Kurt don't have to do them all. So we like to teach as well, but it's great to have other people's perspectives and other people are doing other things. So it's awesome to have great instructors. So. And tell us if there's something you'd like to see, something you'd like to learn. Do tell us, because we're always, looking to decide what to do for future sessions. So we hope to do these on a regular basis. So, if you've got an idea for a topic you'd like to see covered, let us know. We'd be happy to incorporate it. Gail says, thanks, Sue, and YouTube. Yes, Gail, definitely there. We've got tons of videos there and adding new ones all the time. Okay, I think that's all the questions we're going to get, Kurt. So I should probably sign off unless you have something for me.
No, it was an interesting session again. I just wanted to mention that when you go to PresentationPoint and then the blog section, and you open just any article, then you will see some 3-4 videos on the right bar of the article. And those are videos that are created in PowerPoint. So it's just a banner, so to say, very small image or a small MP4 that we are showing on every page there, directly created in PowerPoint.
Yeah, and I think it works great. It's a very fast way to do things, like the GIFs especially, because a lot of people want to put just a simple little GIF with your social media comment, and you don't want to be going through a whole video production and having people come in and shoot video for that. But if you can put together a fun little meme or something, with some words, even just a little thank you note with some movement and graphics, GIFs are a great way to do that. So
It's heavily used on social media, but for signage, you're better off with MP4 files.
yes, of course, the MP4 makes sense on the signage because you've got the higher resolutions. So
it's higher resolution and the compression rate much better.
great. Okay, well, no more comments, so I'm going to end this now. Bye, everybody, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for your time. Bye-bye.